Welcome back to day one of the Rugby Sevens at the Commonwealth Games, and day one of the very first Rugby Sevens for women at the Commonwealth Games. And this second round of matches within the pool stages. Canada against Kenya. Canada led by Gillian Landry there, and Kenya, who are really up against it in their opening game against New Zealand, lost heavily 45-0. Their captain, Philadelphia Orlando. Canada looked good in the first round of matches. New Zealand looked better still, but you would fancy New Zealand and Canada to be going through from this pool. Two pools, we remind you, Pool A, Pool B, and the top two teams go through to the semi-finals. The last round of pool matches will take place tomorrow when the men's competition starts as well. 7:10 in the evening at Robina Stadium on the outskirts of the Gold Coast. 24 degrees, the temperature is cooling down a fraction, but beautiful conditions for some running rugby, although you'd feel it later in the game in sevens. Holly Davidson takes charge of this one, the Scottish referee. Rob Vickerman once more alongside me. And, well, I think the three sides that impressed most of all from the opening pool matches that we saw would be Australia, New Zealand, and this side Canada as well.
Yeah, very much so. They're a team battling out for that position just underneath the powerful two, the New Zealand and Australia. So they come into this game knowing this is a game that they should win, and most likely will win, but they have to perform well.
A little stabbed kick to get us underway. Nobody taking it for Kenya, and already an early mistake by the Kenyans. Cries of complaint from Canada, but they'll have the first chance to attack, which they do through Kayla Maleshi, and hitting the line at some pace now, and out wide it goes, and back in field comes Julia Greenshield, and Greenshield is over within 40 seconds of the start. Canada have their first try. And as impressive as they were in the opening match, they've started this one in fine fashion.
Indeed, getting that possession all importantly, and then shifted out to the wings, who have one job. You have to try and score, not always around the outside. You can see here, you check, go back on the inside, beat three players and glide your way to the line.
It's a slight naivety from the Kenyan defence. Three players all drifting across following Greenshield, so the space appearing inside.
And known as corner flagging, and it can be the absolute crux of many defences, but naturally it's what you do. If you see someone running around the outside, you follow them. Poor communication, it could be argued, but ultimately you'll see it quite a lot in the game of sevens. Big steps on the inside and exciting scores all round.
So Greenshields with the opening score for Canada, and again we remind you, maybe fairly new to watching sevens, the side that scores takes the restart, and you're just really trying to get a fair contest, and that was perfect, dropping it just over the 10 metres that it has to go. Kenya do come away with this one though. And Janet Okello, and there is their captain Orlando giving it wide. And a bit of strength from Ukulu. And she finds a support runner now in Sheila Chajira. And the pass is loose, gives Canada a chance to creep forward in defence and put the pressure on. And a big hit coming in from Greenshield. It's so important to own that ball. Possession is everything, but here, even in possession, Kenya find themselves under pressure. Orlando, the captain, lovely offload, finds Okulu.
Lost forward on the floor.
But then a little knock on the floor, and Canada will have the scrum.
You mentioned possession, also important, but you need to capitalise on it. It can be one little half offload, one big step, but giving the ball away here back to the Canadians shows that their defence is coming out on top. You may have the ball, but you must do something with it. And that's what this Canadian team are pretty good at. They've got some good strike players. They've got a split scrum now, so one player on either side, and the person in behind chooses which way, and it's a 2-on-1.
Canada then attacking again, and it may be the same player. Greenshields comes forward with it. But no way through this time. hoping for the space to appear. Perhaps out wide, go through the middle first of all. Moleshi. And it looked to be a fraction high coming in, which it was. Advantage being played, but the try is there anyway. And scored this time by Hannah Darling.
Darling getting a second, and it comes from some good interplay in the middle. A little bit of a high shot, but continuity all important. Ball off the floor, counts as an offload. So crucial in the game of sevens to keep that ball moving. Darling finishes nicely. Round the in goal. Kenyan team really struggling to get the ball back off the Canadians, and actually have rested two of their better performers from that first game they played, with Giselle Landry not coming out so far in this game.
Drop goal conversion is wide. Yes, I think the key game, obviously, in this pool is going to be Canada against New Zealand. I think both those teams are going to go through, but as pool winner, you'll play the runner-up from the other pool, which would give you a bit of an advantage. New Zealand did look mightily impressive against Kenya in their opening match. They won 45-0 against the Kenyans, so Canada will be almost measuring themselves by that. That restart, it hasn't gone a metre, let alone 10 metres, so giving up possession.
And you can see the right foot, bit of a shank on it. Like one of those golf shots you regret after you've hit it. Shows how important Landry is to this Canadian team.
So what can Kenya offer now? Orlando, they're captain through the middle on her own now. Can she win the race to the line? And she will. Kenya will have the try. Canada caught sleeping. Kenya's first score of the Commonwealth Games.
Well, one thing you can be sure of with the Kenyans, they love a celebration once they score. This captain has led from the front. What a hard line. It's not all about running around people. You can go straight through the middle. Orlando there ran back at the ball. Barreling run from a big, powerful player. She can barely see with a band and a headguard on, but she enjoys the celebrations with her teammates for sure.
Yeah, first score for Kenya, first points that Canada have conceded in this tournament as well after their whitewashing of South Africa in their opening game. And they're widely celebrated by the whole Kenyan squad. Their captain fittingly getting the first score. So Kenya close within 3 points. A long, low restart and then a wild pass, and having to hoover it up is Moleshi. Good skills and good hands, and Canada charging forward once again, and Hannah Darling takes some hauling down, taken on by Moleshi again.
No hands.
And the space appealing out wide now for Canada, and it should be another try, and it's going to be a run-in, and try number 2. And Farrell gets in. So Bianca Farrell with the next score for Canada.
Well, nice and composed after a couple of passes out wide. Plenty of space out there in the left. Kenya defence, a little bit of disarray. The breakdown for them, the contestant will be often like a bit of a magnet. You put too many people in there, you cannot control the space out wide, and it's just two simple, well-executed passes that get Farrell on the outside. Greenshield shifts it on. Ball in two hands, nice and easy, barely looks fatigued at all, Farrell, as she scores.
And I've already lost count, clearly. Third try for Canada, of course, not second. And the conversion attempt is good. And that will bring to an end this first half. So Canada, well, not that they would have been unduly concerned, but with that one try for Kenya, they were certainly kept honest. But moving out to a 10-point lead gets them in a far better shape going into the second half. 17-7 they lead at halftime.
It looks easy when you do it like that. So good support. Right, that was good talk, good look off the kickoff. And it's their kickoff to start. Same thing, when we get the ball back, look to move it, feel over pursuing, just make sure as soon as you pass it out, you drop back on the backside. Right? Just have a heads up because they are running that.
Just the wrap, or just can leave it and just move up. So that's how. Protect the ball when you have and make sure you attack them. Take your chances. That's how. You don't have speed on that.
So again in sevens we do get to eavesdrop a little bit in the conversations. But snippets, that's all. Just positive noises coming from the coaches. Nice for Kenya to get their first score of this tournament. But again, Canada really do look far the stronger side. That game between Canada and New Zealand in this pool will take place tomorrow. It's been a short first day, actually, to ease us into the sevens tournament. Things do get rather more serious and rather more lengthy tomorrow and Sunday. It's interesting, though, when you see sevens at the Commonwealth Games and at the Olympic Games, just how quickly people do take to it. It's a very easy game to watch.
Time on.
A wave rippling around the Robina Stadium. Kenya getting us underway in the second half. The restart, that's a bit of a shank.
Come back.
From Ramour. And Canada immediately onto the front foot. Pace and strength by Charity Williams. And there is Kaljuvi, who was so impressive in the opening game on breaking the tackle. Immediately Bianca Farrell, and Farrell is through and going all the way to the line. Canada scoring very quickly at the start of the second half. Just taking the time as she's allowed to. No one from Kenya chasing back to pressurise her to put that ball down. That gets a few boos from the crowd.
Yeah, I guess that'd be down as gamesmanship, but if you can get 4 Canadians there, there's no reason why Kenya shouldn't be there also. You can mention the half-time talk, Big John Tate talking about how easy it looks when you just pass and drop in behind, and that's how Canada want to play. You can see one width of play, everybody drops back in, and it's just a simple step on the inside. Not good in offence from the whole Kenyan outfit there, rather than just isolate individual players. If you miss tackles in sevens, get walking backwards. There is Chajira not making that hit, and as a result, Farrell gets a second.
So Bianca Farella under the posts, and the conversion was
10 seconds.
added. So Farella with a couple of tries now. And the restart is a pretty good one, works very well for Canada now. And immediately Kaljuvi, powerful figure in the middle, but then the slightly loose pass from Nicholas. Still with Canada though. And still they come once again through Charity Williams.
Swing advantage.
Advantage Canada. So
Advantage over.
as the advantage is over. Still with it and still coming forward through Kayla Maleshi. Now Kaljuvi. She got lots of strength, decides to offload it this time though to Williams, and Williams is taken down pretty well by Kulu. Canada though with the penalty, no release in the tackle. They find as well in sevens is the crowd will very, very quickly adopt the underdog.
Thanks, Amber.
Don't see that too often either, kick to touch, but I think John Tate will be pretty happy with what he's seen so far, not just in this game, but in the one before, where they outshone South Africa. Possession easily gained from the line out. Opportunity once again for Canada, and Williams looking to show her strength. Taken down well, still with Canada though, kept alive and kept in play. Good tackle coming in, good tackles coming in now. Thumping hit on Nicholas, and Kenya get the penalty, and the crowd appreciated that. Quickly taken but brought back. There's a couple of thumps in there, Rob.
Well, one with the ball there, Akello, number 9. She checked out the ribs of the Canadians there, relentless in their pursuit for a big shot, the Kenyans. They love their physicality. That's what the whole men's game is based around. They're just bigger than most of them. And have a look at this. There's the rib, open up. Big shot there with her left shoulder. Okello putting a statement down on this Commonwealth Games. There we go.
Big hit coming in on the referee as well. Holly Davidson felt that quickly back to her feet. The cleaning kick to touch wasn't too impressive, but Kenya looking to secure ball, which they do. Well, they just have one back on the captain Orlando, who felt that lovely little, well, exuberant dummy. Just clung onto that ball and spun away. Kaljuvi putting the pressure on for Canada. She puts in the big hit.
Back.
So Kenya peg back inside their own 22, have to try and run from deep. Little loop around by Ramour, and she sets free Okello, and Okello has plenty of pace, and Okello is going to go all the way here for Kenya. One of the best tries we've seen of this tournament so far, spent by the effort, but that is a try to celebrate.
It is the lady that put the shot on her own try line, gets the turnover. That reaps the benefit 100 metres further down. Again, nice interplay from the Kenyans. That little inside line, ball returned back. It holds the defence. It means the shift pass can work. Off it goes to their speedster, their big hitter, their try scorer, Okello. Good scenes. It just shows how fit these ladies have to be. That is end-to-end stuff.
Yeah, that one took its toll on Okello. She's back with the snow, but breathing hard. There's an outside chance here for Kenya. Again, fitness will come into it, and you'd still very strongly fancy Canada to see this game out, but 12 points the difference. 2 scores, one of them converted. I mean, that can easily happen in 1 minute and 20 seconds, but again, the restart's so important here.
You'd see if any panic did set in, they would bring on Josiane Landry. They haven't done that. We've seen the impact.
And again, the difference there, the restarts just haven't got the kicking skills. Kenya just gifted that possession back to Canada with a long restart. And Canada taking advantage. Good run by Watcham Roy, and penalty to Canada as well. And I think Kenya's very slim chance, as it was, has gone now.
Yeah, slight bit of indiscipline. You see it a little bit. Kenya, Fiji, just not as good as interpreting the referee's decisions in these areas. You've just got to get rid of lying down near the ball. All coaches want, as Kimotho looks on, all referees want is a clean breakdown. It's a simple game and needs to remain so.
It's interesting, the very best women's teams all have somebody who's able to drop a restart on a sixpence, which becomes a major area of the game. Canada through Moleshi again, making decent ground round the outside. The hooter about to sound.
Let's use it, go!
And Canada will look to, look to try and finish with a try here, but they're happy to see this one out and take the victory. Not as handsome a victory as they had in their opening match against South Africa, and certainly not as wide a margin against Kenya as the 45-0, which New Zealand achieved, but a different side, as you say, resting some players as well. And Canada move on. 2 wins from 2, 24-12, they beat Kenya.